Thank you so much. I'm humbled by your presence here today. To me, I look at this scenario that running for office. Really, this is not about me. This is about the values and principles that we love and cherish, and this is about the Texans and Americans that have fought so hard for our country. And so really this is not about me, this is about you. My campaign is simply to get government out of your way. I don't believe that politicians will determine the blessing and prosperity of this nation or this state. It's the people. And it's just my job to get the state, the government out of your way. So I'm humbled by you being here. Thank you so much. I've got to introduce my family. I've got to do it because I love them and I want to brag on them and I want to share them with you. And I'd like to introduce them to you. I'd like to start with my lovely wife, Ruby. We've been married 25 years. Ruby is symbolic to God's faithfulness in my life. And I just want to thank God for her. And Ruby, I love you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your support. Our three lovely children, Trevor, stand up. And Chad, Nicholas. And Heidi, our daughter. I love y'all. Very proud of my children. I also have a son, Rodolfo, who is in San Diego. He's 30 years old, and I'm very proud of him as well. Also like to introduce you to my mom, Gloria Alaniz. My mom taught me love of family and love of God, to reverence God. Thank you, Mom. I love you, and you know I do. Thank you very much. My father, Rodolfo Alaniz. My dad was an occupation in Japan, World War II, a Korean veteran, Purple Heart, and served in the military over 20 years, I believe 21 years now. I'm going to talk a little bit more about my dad in a moment. My sister Rosemary, there she is. If you could stand. My sister Rosemary, my brother Rudy, and my sister Muriel. Thank you. And also I'd like to recognize my Uncle Robert, a Vietnam veteran. And my Aunt Mary. I want to go back and talk about my father for a moment, because it's important for you to understand where I come from and the reason why I love this country so much. My father, again, taught me love of country. He taught me hard work. He taught me humility. He taught me what it is to be a servant leader. He taught me what it is to be a father. He taught me what it is to be a husband, a loving husband, a husband who cherished his wife and cherished his children. And so, Dad, I thank you for being a wonderful role model, not only for our family, but also for our country as well. I want to talk to you a little bit about something that's just very near and dear to the Alaniz family. Please understand, the Alaniz name is greater than silver and gold. I so much appreciate the heritage and the legacy that has been handed down to me. My father, he has given a testimony. He was interviewed, I think, early 2001 or 2002. He shared a story about the saddest day in his life. When he was 16 years old, his brother was fighting in Germany, World War II. The saddest day in his life was when his family was told that his brother was killed in World War II. And it's really an unfortunate thing, because it was just days. I believe it was within 2 weeks to the end of the German war where they gave up. But it was it was a very sad time for the Alaniz family, and a very sad time for my dad. And as you can just imagine, losing your older brother in war, it's just heart-wrenching and heartbreaking. We know that we are just one family that has been through that type of situation, fighting for our country. And we know that we are in the midst of families that are going through that trying times today. But when my father had the opportunity, at the time, I guess they held the body there in Europe for a while, but by the time the body came back to the United States, my dad got in the military as soon as he could. And when it was time for his brother to come back home, he asked his commanding officer if he could escort his brother back to the valley and be there at the funeral in Belton, Texas. And so we are proud of our father, my dad, that he would escort his older brother in a casket that was draped by the U.S. flag. And at the funeral, dressed in full military honors and full military uniform, he handed the American flag to his mom and dad on behalf of a grateful nation in honor of his older brother. And so my dad has taught me love of country and love of family. And he has handed that flag over to me. And I know that same scenario exists, not only in my life, but in your family's life as well, and in your life as well. And I would like to take this opportunity and acknowledge those that served our country. So if you have served our country in military service, would you please stand so we can acknowledge you? Thank you so much. So I get it. I understand how much we love this country. I understand how worried we are today. We are worried about the next generation. We are worried about the politicians that are going to office, are more concerned about the next election than they are the next generation. And I'm like you. I'm fed up. I've had enough. And when I have a father and a role model that I've had in my life, I cannot sit idly by and watch our country be destroyed. Texas has an opportunity to be a model for the entire United States. And we need to take this serious today. We must have the courage to believe in better. We must have the courage to know that we can do better. Mediocrity is no longer acceptable in my eyes, and I know it's no longer acceptable in your eyes either. So we are going to expect the best. And I expect you to expect that in me, to expect my very best. And I'm going to be doing something later on after I speak to give my pledge to you, because I don't want it to be just one of those typical politician campaign speeches. I want to give a pledge to you, and I'll share that a bit more in a moment. But we must have the courage to believe in better. We need consistent, principled servants, not politicians. We need statesmen, people that know what it means to be a servant leader. We're those who are called and elected to serve in office. We are not there to be kings, and we're not there to be cherished, and we're not there to be even called honored. We're there to be public servants and fight for the principles and the values that we have grown to love and cherish, like I mentioned before. But I have to tell you, it's not going to be easy. The great things in life are not the easiest things. They're the most difficult things to achieve. And I want to talk about hope, and many of you might have heard the speech, or might have seen my speech on the internet where I talked about hope. You cannot have hope without hard work. You cannot have hope. There is no hope without perseverance. There is no hope without character. And there is no hope without personal responsibility. And so that's what we need to understand. When people say that they are looking for a hope, well, it comes with a price. It comes with hard work. It comes with perseverance, and it comes with character. And again, it's not one individual. It's It's elected public servants that are allowing those with character, those who are willing to work hard, those who are willing to persevere, and those who are willing to have the character and take that personal responsibility. That's what it's going to take. It's not going to be easy. And it would be dishonest of me to tell you that we can make this change easily. But I've got to tell you, we need to take it now. We need to make this change now. We cannot delay any longer. The simple truth is that for the last several years, politicians, for whatever reasons, I'm not even going to try to explain. I have my reasons, but I'm not even going to go share it. But there has been a divide and conquer mission by politicians. And what I am calling us today is to unite. Now, I've got to tell you that we don't have 100% Tea Party people here. Tea Party, and we don't have 100% Republicans here. We have some Democrats here. But they are here because they know that I am unwavering in my integrity, in my principles, in my values. I think it's important that we share with Democrats that we don't take care of crony capitalism is a concern that people have on the other side. But let me just say this about unity. I'm not in favor of uniting for the sake of uniting. I want to unite around goodness. I want to unite around things that build up, things that encourage, things that strengthen. That's what we need to unite around, and that is something that I am looking to do. I'm excited with the opportunity to share with my friends and family that are on the other side of the political aisle, and let them know that I have a compassionate heart, and I don't want that word to scare you. And I want to explain compassion because I think it's been misused in the past. I think the conservative message is the most compassionate message out there. For instance, we need to seal the border because people are being abused on the border. Those who are trying to come here are being taken advantage by coyotes and being held at ransom and sold with sex slaves and human trading. It's just it's a horrible, terrible thing. But that's just one aspect of the reasons why we need to seal the border. The other reason that we need to seal the border is because we know that people want to come to the United States and they are wanting to kill civilians, including women and children. And so for security, compassion says that we need to secure our borders and secure the Texans and secure Americans for that very reason. I lived that liberal, progressive lifestyle as a young adult. I come from a family that was conservative. We loved family. We believed in hard work. We believed in a strong military. We believed in our God and our Savior. But I was misled by politicians back then when I was younger. And I was told that I needed something to succeed. I needed a handout to succeed. And I fell for that lie, oppressive message. And I suffered for it, and I got to tell you, now I'm fighting against it. I fight against it because I care about people, and I care about this nation. And I am concerned about the direction that we're going. So, my plea to you is, or my encouragement to you is that it's your decision. You decide. This campaign is up to you. Again, I'm not here to represent myself. I'm here to represent you. A vote for me is actually a vote for you. My job is simply to get government out of your way. And I want to go back to be a principled public servant. I think it's important that we hold to those values and hold to those principles. I just forgot the thought I was going to have, but I got to tell you, it was a good thought. Anyway, so it was real good, I know. So what I'm going to ask for y'all today, let's get to work. I have Matt Armstrong here who's going to help explain what it's going to take to accomplish our goals and what we're going to need to do from this point forward. And I just want to just say, remember that the best options require the hardest work. The things that are the greatest in life, I think, take more effort to achieve. And for instance, those who are willing to go to office and not be taking campaign contributions and then be bought out, beholden to those campaign contributions. It's a more difficult campaign in those efforts. So we're going to ask for grassroots efforts. It's more difficult to go into office and say, I don't care about these promises of power. I care about my pledge to the people, to the constituents of this community. See, I remember what I was going to say. So in that spirit, I want to, before you, sign a document that I have written out to myself. I had not had any consultant on this document. This is strictly a document that I have put together myself, and it's for the same reasons that you have, that I have put this on in written form, so that you will know, and will always be documented, my pledge to the constituents of District 55. So I'm going to read it to you. Let me just kind of set the tone here. I'm very disappointed that people would sign a pledge card to a speaker and ignore the constituents of their district. So I'm going to sign a pledge card tonight, but it's not going to be to a speaker of the House. It's going to be to you, the voters of this district and the constituents of this district. So here we go. Candidates for state representative, pledge cards to constituents. November 19th, 2011. A pledge to the people of District 55. I, John Alaniz, a candidate for state representative in District 55, do hereby pledge my allegiance to the conservative principles upon which I am campaigning. I pledge not to ignore the will of the voters by casting any unprincipled votes in return for promises of power or money. I pledge to be fearless, regardless of threats or intimidation, when the right decisions are needed for long-term prosperity. I pledge to vote for a Speaker of the House that best represents the conservative principles and promotes free enterprise, personal responsibilities, and family values. And I pledge to reciprocate courtesy and respect at all times with all people. And I'm going to sign that right now in front of you all. So hold on 1 second. There we go. I'm going to be framing this and put it in the campaign. And God willing, if I get the votes, the support, and the volunteers that we need to win this campaign, I'll be posting this in my office when I serve to remind me why I'm there and the reasons why I need to stick to the principles that I campaigned on. I also will be carrying during this campaign, because I know the threats will come, the intimidations will come, there will perhaps be some discouragements. I will carry around this card that I carried around before. And it's the photo when my dad gave the flag to his mom and dad. It's going to remind me that the sacrifice is worth it. When things are being difficult and I'm getting discouraged, and if there's attacks that come, I'll be looking at this and remind myself the sacrifice is worth it. And I also have scriptures on the back that will remind me and keep me in line. And I'm going to read those to you. No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. The other one is, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So I want to say thank you for being here. I thank you for your support. Again, I'm humbled by your presence, and I am also wise enough to know that it's not about me. It's about the liberties and principles that we believe in. So thank you very much.